Hello you multiplicationers, Ralphie here in the Bothy, giving one of my own malt mentions because I'm introducing three great value single malts for you to consider buying in 2024. This is particularly relevant to people who are looking not just for affordability but for actual quality of whisky and the experience of smell and taste. So these are absolutely sippers. And before I introduce each of these three bottles, I want to start by letting you know that I went through the archive a wee bit of my previous videos as to what I recommended last year in 2022 for this year, 2023. And this bottling, the one in the middle, the Arran 10-year-old, featured in my previous recommendations, but the other two have changed from last time. Last time, let me see, it was recorded November 2022. It was called Three Great Malts for 2023. And it included Bunnahabhain 12-year-old, which I still recommend, and Balblair 12-year-old, which is an excellent consideration, well worth looking out for, because importantly, there are whiskies which are a little bit off our radar. We're not actually really fully aware of them. We see them sitting in shelves, but we tend to bypass them because the brand isn't immediately recognisable, in particular in relation to online conversations, which tend to be increasingly fashionable whiskies for ease of reference. And that's just the fact of it. It's not a criticism. But here we go. Here's this year's recommendations from me, Ralphie, here in the Bothy, for value whiskies. And the first one I'm going to point out is excellent value. You can buy this usually for about £30 to £35 a bottle in the UK. It's Anok, it's 12-year-old. The entire range is excellent. I've never had a bad Anok yet. And this one is bottled at 40%. It is chill filtered, no doubt about it. But it's got very little in the way of added caramel colourant. I'm recommending this one because of its accessibility. For the price, you're getting a unpeated, slightly complex, but sensation restrained whisky. So it's soft in the sweet, soft in the sour, soft, very soft in the bitter, and there's very little in the terms of salty and savouriness. It's a lovely barley sugar cereal whisky, and you can't go wrong with it. It's great, actually, great whisky for blending with other single malts, which is something I'm going to be featuring more of in this channel in 2024. My second recommendation is a stalwart, an absolute staple in the category of Scotch single malt whiskies. From out of nowhere, this distillery, after a bit of a shaky start I have to say, really found its feet and has established itself as one of the most consistent, affordable, accessible, in other words, easy to get your palate round, and available single malts you'll find out there. Importantly, this is a brand which it bottles at integrity strength, 46% natural colour, unchill filtered, and it says so on the label. And the label, malt mates, yep, is where it matters. The label is the direct contract between the producer and the customer. That's us. Again, unpeated, cereal notes, biscuity, naturally understated complexity. So the Anok and the Arran actually have quite a lot in common as styles of whisky. Also, if we're looking for a summer whisky that's not going to be demanding in our palate, both of these are excellent options. As is Deanston 12-year-old. Again, another Integrity Bottling single malt. Very affordable prices. I don't think it's going to last the way inflation is going on everything in the UK. Simply the cost of making and putting whisky into the market is jumping significantly over the last few years and over the next few years because of the underlying rate of inflation in the British economy. That's one of the primary reasons. It's not that the producers are making more profit. They make very, I wouldn't say marginal profits. They make very humble profits compared to other luxury commodities, which are consistently more profitable. I'm thinking of trainers, for example, or even soft drinks like Coca-Cola, much more profitable than Scotch whisky at a standard, accessible, affordable bottling presentation. It's the real world. Deanston is a Highland single malt. The Arran is an island. The Annoch is a Speyside. Deanston is a Highland. You tend to have a little bit more dryness in the finish, a little bit more freshness and zestiness there. But again, an expressive, accessible single malt. So you've not just got accessibility, it's quite expressive with it, pleasantly so. So it doesn't matter where your palate is in your single malt sipping journey. You're going to get a lot out of a bottle of Deanston 12-year-old. And furthermore, like the Arran, like the Annoch, what's really clinched it for me to present them to you as highly recommended 3 great value single malts for 2024 is the fact that they're just consistent from bottling to bottling. And all 3 of these bottlings, by the way, when you have a bottle of these, if you decide to upgrade and go for another permutation, another version, perhaps an older age statement, you're going to have a really reliable point of comparison. So these are really great, all 3 of them, single malts to give you access to the rest of the single malt range coming from these distilleries. I'm Ralphie in the Bothy, here to be helpful. Hope you enjoyed this. If you have, we'll see you soon.